Folks, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing great out there. Today we have a cool little video here on our Kubota RTV 900. We're going to do a little buyer's guide and owner's guide, and also look at this from a driving perspective as well. This vehicle here is getting replaced soon, and it's been in the family now for 20 years, and there is a new vehicle coming. This one, no, I am going to miss it. It is, I call it my little mule, and it is one tough little vehicle, and I would love to keep it, but the next vehicle that's coming has an enclosed cockpit with AC and heating, and it's just going to be kind of a bit better for everyone doing snow plowing and all that in the family, just to stay out of those weather conditions. And just give us kind of more of an all-weather vehicle. So with this RTV 900 though, awesome little vehicle. These 2000 RTVs, actually, the one thing about them is they don't have all that emission stuff that was put on them later that made them a little more complicated and more of a pain in the butt. So these older ones are pretty desirable. They come in at a price point for about $4,000 to $7,000, maybe $8,000. Sometimes you might even be able to get them cheaper if they have a lot of hours on them. We're going to go over everything with this vehicle, tip the butt that you might need to know if you're out there looking for one and you want to add one to your farm or your property. So just fantastic little vehicles. So the thing is, let's start out with from the driver's perspective and how it looks from the cockpit and everything you need to know about that. Alright folks, so here in the cockpit we have a handbrake here, and then also too your lever right here for the dump bed. This dump bed, actually I cleaned it the other day, and then it was used this morning to dump a load of dirt. So even though it's about to go away, it's still being used right up to the last couple days. So the dump bed, very easy to use. You got to have the engine running, of course, and all that to raise it up. You can put about 800 pounds, I think, in this back bed. I have filled it up with dirt and gravel and put a pretty big pile in there. If it does get too heavy, the dump bed will have trouble actually lifting it, and you'll have to manually shift the load out. But it can carry some pretty stout loads. You got a bed here that's about 4 feet long. And that's one advantage with these compared to the newer RTVs. They shorten the bed up on them, which is kind of more of a pain, because having more of that carry space is a good thing. So up here in the cockpit also, there are controls here for the winch in and out, and that button there on the left, that actually controls the snowplow in wintertime. Just pressing it up or down raises or lowers the snowplow. Let's get in here in the cockpit and have a look. And so you got your fuel gauge and then a temperature gauge. We have a hydrostatic transmission here. So the thing with this is you do not shift it on the fly. It is a thing of where we got neutral right there. You come to a stop and you just put it in whatever you would like to use. So I find medium works pretty good for just kind of general driving around. That's pretty much about all you need. Low here, if you are, now the low can be a little more difficult to kind of get in. There we go. Low here, this is for like if you're going down a real steep hill or climbing a real steep hill, or you're negotiating obstacles. I don't really use that too much, even though I have some steeper hills I have to deal with. I find the medium speed works just fine. And then we also have the high. I rarely use the high. A couple times where I've driven it on the road, paved road, to get across into another part of the property or to the neighbors, where I've put it in high. So don't really need to use that much. Then you have your lever here for 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive. Vast majority of the time, because I'm dealing with basically mountains and a swamp, I just leave it in 4-wheel drive all the time and let it do its thing. And then we have our light switch right there, and then our key switch, a horn over here, cup holders, cup holder over here, a plug-in here for 12 volts, which I run a little light so people can see me whenever I'm doing my thing. And then also too, we got a rear view mirror, roll cage and all that right here. In terms of starting it up, all you got to do is put the key in. Let me go ahead and grab the key here real quick. Put the key in, and then just turn it to the glow plug setting. You'll hear a little click right there, and then you can go ahead and start it and fire it up. So pretty easy to use. All the controls are pretty simple. Relatively weatherproof as well. I've done plenty of snow plowing in this and driving snowstorms and stuff. I think there's a body kit you can get for it, or some roof protection and stuff, but it's always been open over the 20 years. And then also you got some seat belts here, and the seat does lift up. There's a little section here where you can stow some stuff, a little carved out section. You can put a few things in. So that's pretty much it from a driver's perspective. Up here at the front, most of these have a winch on them. So this one here, I've used this winch to get me unstuck a number of times. There's a snowplow attachment there as well. Up here in the front, there's a little compartment. Yep. And up here in the compartment, a lot of the stuff is easy to get to. The shocks and all that. If you need to do any work in here, there's not really much in the way of like stowage space. I would say you could probably put like a duffel type bag in here and stash it in here if you wanted to carry around some tools or different things like that, but it's not really, I don't think, intended for storage per se, but you could do that if you wanted to. And let's see, the tires on these generally hold up pretty good for about 4 to 5 years. You know, that's what I have kind of found. These are getting a little bit worn because it's carried a lot of loads of dirt, and that tends to wear down the tires a bit quicker. Underneath the seat there is the radiator. It's pretty well protected, but there is a little section where I managed to get a stick driven through up in there, and it nailed the radiator and put the radiator out, so that was kind of a pain. But overall, it's pretty well protected. I think it was just a freak thing. And then we have the battery right there, which has a cover on it. And then, of course, our bed. The one cool thing with these, with the lift gate, is it's a nice smooth surface. And that is one thing with the new vehicle that's coming. It has kind of an uneven surface, and to me, that's kind of a pain in the butt, because this has always been kind of the perfect work surface. So I will miss having this as a workbench, and have filmed a ton of YouTube videos off the back of this vehicle. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it from a driving perspective. Let's go ahead and raise up the back here. Alright, so let's kind of take a look under the hood per se. The engine there I have found to be very reliable. Never had any issues with it all. I think probably the glow plugs maybe have been changed at some point over the years, but just regular oil changes. That's about all that, as far as I've been aware, that's been done to it. I have heard that the heads on these do wear out in time. From what I saw watching a YouTube video on it, it's a pretty simple mechanical job, and the heads are available new. And you just go ahead and slap on a new one. Some people have reprofiled them and put the old ones on, you know, up to you. But I've never had an issue with it. I use liquid moly diesel additives also, and it seems to keep the engine running pretty smooth. So that has worked well. The transmission's down in there. This one too has had bushings, and some of the shocks and all that have been changed over time. This had a big service back about a year or so ago, so pretty much there were some new hoses put on, all that sort of stuff. Mechanically, I don't think you have to worry about too much with these. The one thing is, up here on the front end was the Ball joints after 20 years, they went, and that was kind of an expensive job to do. But that is to be expected when you start getting into vehicles that are 10 to 15 to 20 years old. A lot of that suspension stuff that's rubber based and all that, it's going to kind of rot, and it's going to need replacing. So that's not a surprise. So that's something to expect with these 2000s Kubotas. You might have to make some upgrades in regards to that. But yeah, I just try to keep the engine bay here pretty clean. I give it a pressure wash every once in a while. I also clean it from underneath too. And so I think that helps, trying to keep it somewhat clean. So yeah, mechanically under here, not too much in the way of problems really. Just doing your regular maintenance and looking after stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and take it for a little ride. It is a diesel motor, so one thing is with it is that it's got a bit more torque than horsepower. So it's not like super fast like a lot of these RTV, UTV type vehicles are today. But it has plenty of speed, you know, drives around just fine, and climbs mountains pretty good, and all that. So to get it started up, we'll go ahead and get the glow plugs lit up here. We'll wait for that click. Okay, it clicks. Let's go ahead and put the bed down. All right, the bed's down. And we'll go ahead and get it into medium here. And let's take it for a spin. Start climbing a steep hill right here, and I just left it in medium, four-wheel drive. Turned around here. Now going down a hill, the one thing is with this diesel motor and the engine compression, you don't really need much in the way of brakes. So as I start going down this steep hill now, as soon as you come off the gas, it just comes all the way to a stop. I don't even have to use the brakes. So yeah, it drives real nice, even after 20 years old. I think the thing is, like with a lot of stuff, as long as you keep the maintenance up, you know, I think it will last a long time. So folks, this one here, sadly, it is on its way out the door to a new life. It's been a big part of the family for 20 years, and so it is kind of sad to see it go. It's already spoken for, so it's not for sale. But anyways, these are sturdy little farm trucks, these 2000 models. They have the longer bed on them that's 4 feet long. And they don't have a lot of the emission stuff that makes them more of a pain in the butt that you hear about on the later ones. And a lot of it just comes down to being prepared to do a little bit of maintenance, because probably with a lot of these, the suspension bushings and different things, they might be worn out by the time you get now here into the 2020s. And so that's something you might have to upgrade. The diesel engines on them, I've heard about the heads and stuff being a problem. Like I said, it's an easy fix if it ever comes to that. Mechanically, they're not too complicated to deal with. The hydrostatic transmission, you just have to remember that you don't shift it on the fly, so that's a good way to screw it up. You just always come to a complete stop and, you know, and then put it in low, medium, high, or reverse. But yeah, good little farm trucks, and definitely worth checking out if you are on a lower budget. And these are available out there at farm auctions and, you know, for sale privately and stuff. They're out there and about. This one here doesn't have a huge amount of hours on it. It has about 1,200. I've seen some of them out there that have 4,000 or 5,000 hours, but yeah, just kind of look for a good one, and I think the prices generally run about $4,000 to $8,000. So, you know, if you don't have the money to buy something new, definitely kind of consider one of these. Good little vehicles overall. So we'll miss this one. I would love to keep it, but I only have so much room and other projects to do. So it is kind of sad to see, you know, something that's been a part of your life for a long time head out the door, but you know, that is what it is with life sometimes. So yes, hope that was some good information for y'all if you're interested in getting one of these. Any questions or comments, leave it down below. Long after this vehicle is gone and this video is posted, you know, years into the future, anybody that has any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer them the best that I can. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video, and stay tuned. We got a lot of different content coming up on the channel. So all kinds of cool stuff coming down the pike. All right, see y'all soon.